Hi, good day. I'm number 3475, Firefighter Ramkissoon, attached with the Fire Service School. Today, we are going to have a simple discussion on some of the control room procedures. I hope it will enlighten you and bring some light in some of the ambiguities you're having with some of the control room procedures. So hold on, let me share the screen and get straight into today's topic. Control room procedures presented by myself, 3475, Firefighter Ramkissoon. Objectives. At the end of the session, participants, you will be able to give a general definition of a control room. You list basic control room operation, highlight standard control room procedures, and identify some personal qualities and skills as a control room centric. Firstly, what is a control room? A control room can be defined as an operation center staffed by personnel charged with the responsibility for monitoring and controlling the affairs of the fire service. So being a member of the control room, a lot of responsibility is placed in your hands. Control room operation. The control room will operate 24 hours a day. 365 days a year, the control room will be staffed by at least one operator at all times. Right? So the control room is a place where there is constant activity. There's no rest time or downtime in the control room. The washroom of the fire service is an area which contains the equipment necessary for communication, mobilization, and the recording of daily affairs of the service. Communication, mobilization, and recording of the daily affairs of the service. So you are the eyes and ears of the operational staff. The responsibility placed on washroom staff is great because the speed with which appliances, personnel, and equipment are dispatched to the given address or location of incident depends on the efficiency of the action taken by the washroom attendants or sentry. Throughout the discussion here today, you would see washroom, you'd see control room. They are interchangeable. Washroom, control room. A washroom is for a base station. A control room is for the headquarters. But they basically do the same thing, right? A well-trained washroom or control room staff would either make the service look good or make us look bad when we go out there. It depends on the efficiency of how they do things. Our response time will be much more immaculate. A written record of the calls to include the time, data, nature of the incident, and the address or location is made. Every effort should be made to get the name of the caller and the direction to the given location. So you in the control room, you have to have a little wit about yourself. You get a call, you're unsure where the call is. If you have a contact number, do the groundwork so you could get the firefighters to the incident as fast as possible through the fastest route. Audible and in some instances, visible alarms are activated in stations to alert the emergency response crew. Other emergency services are also alerted. Being a control room member, a watchroom member, you have to know how to engage or activate the alarm systems. Some stations, we have a light switch to put on in the nighttime, especially. Turn on the light, sound the alarm. Give the address through the intercom system. Also depend on where the call is. Also alert other agencies. For example, the police, TNTech, WASA, as the case may be. Senior officers are informed of the receipt of the call, and firefighting crews and appliances respond. This response should be done as soon as possible. As soon as size up is completed and the whole message is given, they contact the senior officers and inform them of what is taking place. The number of appliances and crews, the response depend on the type of incident report or the risk involved. More appliances will respond to a school or a hospital rather than to a rubbish fire. That is common sense. Depends on the magnitude of the call, the nature of the call, that will dictate the response of the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service. All right, as mentioned earlier, as soon as size up is given, as soon as size up is done, a whole message should be given. A whole message basically entails age for height, area, utilization, location. The height of the building, what area the fire is located, the utilization, what the building is used for, the location. We have also upgraded in recent time to what we call a picture message. The picture message is a little more detailed. It gives you more information, especially when it comes to RTAs and MVAs. Now it tells you the property, size, construction, the involvement, where it is located, crew, what and which crew is doing what. For example, the first responding appliance, the crew might be involved in conducting a rescue. Right? When it comes to incident command system, whether we are in the offensive mode, or whether we are in the defensive mode, or whether we're in rescue mode. The U in the picture stands for update. Communication, you're communicating with the base station, communicating with your control rooms, informing them of what is taking place. Request. If you need additional resources, resources mean other appliances from different stations, or you need a specialized unit, for example, a hazmat unit you need on the scene. External agencies, the E. If we get WASA involved, if we get TNTech involved, right? If we get NP involved, yes, we could also get NP involved, but we have a tanker carrying gasoline, dieseline, overturn on one of our roadways. We could always engage NP to assist us. An exchange of message between the controls and the working crew and additional manpower and equipment are mobilized until the situation is resolved. So constant communication have to be taken place between the appliance, the responding appliance, and the control room or the watchroom. This is so that the control room will be able to mobilize if additional resources is needed, if additional manpower is needed, whatever equipment is needed. This is done until the situation is resolved. Standard control procedures continue. Right? We could also refer to the number 4 of 1986 when we're dealing with control room procedures. Right? Where persons assuming the duty in the watchroom must properly relieve the person going off before he or she can make an entry in the books. This is important because what we are seeing time and time again in stations, that people leaving our space, they don't know who coming to relieve them. The person going off must close his or her entries, and the relieving duty person must verify that the entries are true and correct, especially the handover. Handover, as I mentioned in a previous presentation with record keeping. This is to be held accountable for things at the station. The control room sentry should never leave the washroom until properly relieved. Properly relieved means that both sentries, the incoming and the outgoing, agrees to the handover that everything is right, everything is accounted for. Accountability is very important. Persons going off must pass the relevant information related to the availability of officers, appliances, stations, etc., and specifically ensure that he or she knows who the strength of the station. Right? As the incoming sentry, it is important to know the strength of the station in the event an emergency occurs. That what would make you as a washroom staff or a control room staff a cut above the rest. We get a warehouse fire, we only have one appliance. One appliance cannot deal with a warehouse fire. So automatically as the control room staff, the control room member, the washroom member, you would know, right, we need to mobilize more resources. When fire, emergency, or special service calls are received, the washroom/control room sentry should ensure the correct address or location is ascertained. Ask for direction and landmarks. The nature of the incident and the telephone number is obtained from the caller. Right? As much as possible, this is to aid us in responding efficiently and executing effectively. Message to substations regarding fire, accidents, and other emergencies should be transmitted ASAP of their receipt. This is to say sometimes fire control send the message, the fire call or the emergency call through the controls, either North Control, Central Control, South Control, or Tobago Control. In that case, as the control room staff, don't hesitate. You should have a relatively good working idea of which station respond to what part the call was dispatched to. So as soon as possible, get the call out there. Always ensure that the response time corresponds with the time of the call or the responding substation. The officer in charge of the watch must be kept informed of the progress message from the fire or other incident. It is important that we have, as I mentioned earlier, communication with the responding appliances and the control room, so we will know what is taking place outside there. Time checks should be made between substations and their main controls to ensure entries have the same time. Yes, this falls under control room procedures. It is important that everybody have their clock synced. So all the entries will be correspondent. When an appliance is sent out to any call, the control must be informed to put place in coverage plan in the event of another emergency may occur at the same time. Multiple things can happen at one time. And within a minute have 60 seconds. Using Bolt is take 10 seconds to win a race. So we still have 50 seconds in a minute. So a lot of things could take place within a minute, within the same time frame. So thing coverage plans must be put in place in the event of something happen. We are proactive rather than reactive. Divisional heads, supervisors, etc. must be informed of all fires at which watch commanders and other senior officers should be in attendance. All calls involving emergencies at hospitals, hotels, schools, chemical manufacturing plants, LPG installation, fatalities. To get a clearer picture of what calls our seniors need to respond to, you could draw reference to the Fire Service Instruction Number 1 of 1990, notifying officers of fires and other emergencies. Now, later discourse, we'll go into that and we'll see, get a breakdown of the price range of the value range of fires that they should be informed of. But to be on the safe side, once it's a big fire, once it's fatalities, yes, have them informed. Government buildings, yes, have them informed. It's not nice when through social media, the chief fire officer have to find out about a fire. And when he is called upon from his seniors, which are the permanent secretary and the minister, he knows nothing about it. It makes us look very unprofessional as an organization. When an appliance leaves and returns to the station, a complete list of the crew members must be recorded for accountability. Because accountability, as mentioned before, it is paramount. We need to account for everything, not just our appliances, not our equipment. We also need to account for our manpower, our human resource we need to account for. Requests for equipment, fuel, additional manpower, etc. by substation must be treated as priority and watch commanders informed immediately. Watchroom or control room sentries are responsible for the information in the various record books. In a previous discourse, we spoke about there's approximately 43 record books that's supposed to be in the control room. Being a watchroom or control room sentry, you are responsible for the information in these various record books. The station diaries of paramount importance. Paramount importance means that you must, whatever you're recording in the station diary, it must be truthful. First to begin with. Must be accurate. Right? It must reflect what actually takes place. Right? Because any point in time, the station diary could be summoned to the courts of Trinidad and Tobago, and an excerpt will be taken from it as evidence. So we have to be cognizant of what is written in the station diary. Control room duties can be stressful. You must be resilient and able to cope with this to perform your duties. How could the control duties be stressful? How? Man would say, hey, that's a relaxing area, but no. Remember, when all this responsibility is placed on you, if you're not resilient, if you don't know how to deal with this amount of responsibility, you can make a mess of the situation. A good example is during bushfire season. Depends on which station you are attached to. On any given day during bushfire season, you can get upwards of 20 calls, 30 calls. You have to know how to manage your calls, how to filter your calls. Right. On top of that, you still have your daily activities to do, your daily occurrences. You have your relevant record books to update. Your officer in charge might want to excerpt from the diary with regards as to the matter that previously occurred. Right, so you have to be resilient, you have to develop strategies, you have to develop routines that will work for you. Reporting for duty. An officer in the 2nd Division shall report for duty at the watchroom/control room of the fire station to which he or she is assigned, and the time of arrival and departure from the station. This shall be recorded by the officer in duty in the station diary. Right? When we go to a certain station and we peruse the station diary, we don't see where firefighters reporting on for duty and reporting off for duty. Right? Once you see a change of watch parade, right? But it is stated in Fire Service Order number 17 of 1999, reporting for duty. Right? If you could get your hands on this, and you would see where it is dictated that you need to record your presence in the station diary. Personal qualities and skills as a control room sentry. As a control room/watchroom personnel, you need to have strong communication skills, including clear speech, good hearing, and a professional telephone manner. Most of us have professional telephone manners because we have a cell phone. We can talk on the phone. Clear speech, good hearing. You just can't be a talker and don't hear what people are telling you. You have to be able to listen and hear what people are telling you also. Communication is very important. Understand, respect, and deal fairly with people of all ages, types, and backgrounds. Being a watchroom, control room sentry, a member of staff in the control room or watchroom, 99% of the time, you are the first contact that the public deals with. So your image, the way that you portray yourself, is a reflection of the service. If you are very unprofessional and disrespectful, it will have a bitter taste in the public's mouth. Remain calm and reassuring under pressure. Right? We are trained for this. We are trained to be calm. We work under pressure. That's the time when people are running out of buildings, we are running into buildings where the pressure is. So this is something supposed to be second nature to us. Be able to deal sensitively with members of the public who might be upset, confused, or aggressive. Because most of the time, once in a person's lifetime, they might call the fire service to treat with an emergency that they may have. Right? Some people never ever call the fire service. And they expect when they take up that phone, right, you're supposed to magically appear. Right? Yes, most of the time, some people are upset, they're confused, they're aggressive. So you have to be tactful in the way that you deal with the public. Have a polite, friendly, effective, and helpful attitude. Another personal quality and skill as a control room sentry, you need to be able to prioritize your task. Prioritize what is important, what needs to be done first, what needs to be done last. Right. Solve problems and make informed decisions. Solve problems and make informed decisions, because you are the one who dispatching most of the time. You have to make an informed decision who to dispatch. Be able to keep clear written records. As mentioned in a previous discourse, record keeping, I cannot reiterate how important record keeping is for the service. It's for transparency and accountability, and to have a record of what taken place in the history of the service. So you must be able to keep clear written records at all times. Have keyboard and IT skills. Right, this is our asset, because if you have to enter information on any electronic devices, it is wise that you have some level of IT and computer literacy. You must be able to work on your own and work as part of a team. Fire service, everything is they need to be part of a team. It's not a one-man effort all the time, but in the control room, there are times that you have to be by yourself. Depends on the situation, depends on the timing of the day or the night. Try as much as possible to be well organized, and you will be able to operate very smoothly. Be interested in people's health, care, and safety. During this time, during this pandemic time, we're seeing that people's health is deteriorating as the days go by. We are dealing with so much. Must be show a little bit of empathy with people. Pay attention to details. Paying attention to details can either make us more effective or make us lethargic in our response. Follow set procedures and also use your initiative. Majority of things that we do in fire service, there are procedures for it. We have procedures, they come under fire service instructions or fire service orders, as the case may be. But yes, we are also bounded by Fire Service Act 3550, which outlines a great deal of what we have to do. Be prepared to work long hours. Our job is one that could be, when we respond to a fire call, it could be handled within a couple of minutes. Sometimes they are long hours. So we are supposed to be accustomed. Suppose I use the term supposed to loosely, but we are supposed to be able to work long hours. Questions? These are just, in a nutshell, some of the things that are required as a control personnel. Right? In control procedure, it entails a whole lot of not just what you do in the diary, what you do in the record keeping aspect when it comes to updating your daily books, your daily occurrences. Right? You need to have a vast knowledge of the operations of the service when it comes to control procedures, when it comes to wireless procedures. Also, in later discussions, we will be discussing things like telephone etiquette, saluting, communication on the fire ground. So all of this falls under control procedure, where it is everything comes together and make this nice catalog of information that makes us more effective and efficient in what we do as firefighters. All right, for questions, any questions, feel free to email us at thefireserviceschoolhq@gmail.com. As soon as possible, we will get back to you with a favorable response. Good day.